I am Michael Lighten, writer of science fiction and poetic works. I am reading a chapter from one of my works presently so that you can hear how the writing flows and see if you have interest. My works are all futuristic so far, except for some poetry, a two-volume set called Care Teachings for a New World. This reading will consist of the battles of Lance the Writer. After this reading, I will leave connections in the details below. I hope when you get to enjoy this read, it'll connect. In the battles of Lance the Rider, for all those who constantly battle for good. That's the beginning. On the prologue, Lance says, because this is his writing, I am Lance and wrote occasionally while being the son of a rough man, and histories of the rough men. But what I was about to undertake was a violence and inadvertently caused, and the battles that ensued near destroyed my soul. On this quotes, I like quotes in my book, famous people who know what they're talking about, and one is Walt Whitman, 1819 to 1892, the son of myself of 1855 writings, said, I also say it is good to fall. Battles are lost in the same spirit in which they are won. That was son of myself, Walt Whitman. Chapter 1, Hannibal, Missouri, better known as Hanmo, New Times. Hi, my name is Lance. I had been designated as the recorder for the Rough Men 3 project. I really didn't want the job, but no one else would take it. Now, I know what my dad went through when he ran from the reach of the ancients in his younger days. In the New Times, 1 year after the departure of my dad in June, another rough man, there was much anticipation of what they left behind. 4 babies germinated in their mother's wombs, twins through Kim Frost, one through Chelsea B, who some called Chelsea or Chelsea. The final baby was born through June, so they sometimes called her Chelsea B. Also found it to be odd the project was called Rough Men 3, when there were nearly 4 reps born. No one I asked could clarify the discrepancy. I dropped the subject not knowing it would be answered years later. Another factor about the reps was their lack of vocal cords. This mystery confused the human doctors, but a few human doctors pointed out the rough men were always able to manipulate their DNA in the past. Why would they not do the same this time? The event of cell manipulation did make sense, but the purpose for the vocals being missed in all the reps was not clear. Kim was the most obsessive of these babies, and I decided to interview her first. But as I gathered my electronic equipment together, I got a screen buzz from across Han, or Hannibal as some still called it. We called it screen buzzing when someone telephoned you on screen, like being online and getting an email. I touched the screen with my hairy fingers and knew it was Dante to talk about our supposed relationship, which we never had. Dante was just as hairy as I, she being Belarus and all. She had a certain beauty about her, a dark beauty. She was only 41 years of age and already had 4 husbands before me. They all died from rough sex with her. There was no trial. It was all accidental. Now she has it in for me. We kissed once, but it was not reciprocated from my end, and she burned to have it reciprocated. Despite having it in for me sexually, she was rich with land and housing, mostly in northern Han or Boland, as many called it these days. Her attraction could not be about money because I had very little of it through my magazine position. Lance, you're a hard bull to track down. Are you too busy to call? Dante asked. I don't need to call into you. You are not my wife, I replied curtly. This hurt her deeply, and she looked down in sadness. I sighed deeply and apologized. I have been under great pressure from the three carriers to finish my first reports on the rats, and I am under pressure from the Ruffman families to finish the archives of their last visits. I didn't mean to snap at you like that, I said. Sounds like you need some help, Dante smiled weakly. Nobody wants to do this, Dante. Who would do it if I don't? I asked. I can do it, Dante suddenly said. What do you know about writing reports? I asked, surprised. I took up 2 writing courses when I went to school for business in the Ozarks. Passed with no problems. You can't be in business and not know how to form reports, she said quietly. The ball was in my court. I stood and turned in a circle with my head down in deep thought. I did this so she would not see my facial expressions and gauge my next decision. When I stared at her, she understood her victory. I looked at the smile that formed on her thin lips and a brightness that glimmered in her eyes. I want to keep it platonic, I said carefully. Hire me as your outside contractor. Pay me what you can afford. I don't need the money, but I'll take what you think is fair, Lance. Trust your judgment, she said tenderly. Okay, you can be in charge of the archival footage of the Ruffman meetings. You are to document what you see in written and vocal form and make 3 copies of each. I may be able to help you from time to time. When I can expect you to start, I asked. I will be there in 2 hours. Have the papers ready for me to sign on my payment arrangements. I like my currency in debits, not credits, she said firmly. We said our goodbyes quickly, but at the end of our transmission, I detected a strange smile that came across her face. It was a hint of triumph. I am partly human and knew the feeling of achievement. Through my discomfort, she used that to drive a wedge into my life and could use that to hasten my death. I was presently 21 years of age in these new times, only a few months older than my sister Laura. But with all the responsibilities, you would expect me to be older. I barely had time to prepare the proper documents, set up the archival footage of the Ruffman talks, and look over my blue and silver air card for any safety violations before I was airborne. Many family and friends were greatly concerned about Tante's age when it came to us. She was 20 years my senior. They were greatly concerned she would kill me as she did her former husbands. So I was anxious in meeting her, but inside my desire for her was greater than my fear. Dante waved slowly from her point on a tall roof that was painted white. I barely looked back at her and felt some sadness creep in my chest before I sighed deeply and thought of the many pressures of being a futuristic writer. I opened my equipment and began to set up in the plush living room of Kim Frost, who resided in Radioland. This was a small island filled with 4 radio towers, air cars, and merchant ships that poured from one dock to another. Kim held twins in her arms. She beamed with pride through black strands of hair. Her black eyes turned to me, and I smiled through my strands of hair that fell over my face. Looks like you need a haircut, Kim said. Part of my Polaris heritage, I said as I panned the camera about the room. I looked like a thin human with thick, dark gorilla hair dressed in a blue uniform and black boots. I had human features, facey human, with large ears, and some women said a handsome face. With all this about Ruffman Hawks, archives, Ruffman representatives, I am up to the chin with all of this, I said bitterly. Kim was immediately hurt by my words. I could feel her disappointment in me because of the human phasey part of me. I sighed and placed the camera down. Kim gestured for two help nurses to take the babies away. The nurses whisked them away in their white garments. I owe you an apology, I said quietly. I am not up to the task of a writer on a deadline. Do not handle pressure well. I know that. We all know that, Kim said soothingly. We were given the task to see that the best candidate for this job was picked, and that was you. No other can do this but you. We see that you do have help from Dante. Who is this we? I asked quietly. Chelsea and June, we three work together. You don't think you are doing this alone, do you? Kim's black eyes glistened in humor. Yes, I did, I said flatly. This is all being watched from phase. Mars is looking over things from there. He's in charge as the director. We are like secretaries for him, Kim said with exasperation. I was not sure who the exasperation was for. Was it for me in not knowing how deep this project was, or Mars? I was still in shock when she asked if I would like to speak to the boss. I soon stood in a small computer room of advanced gadgets. Many of them I was familiar with and helped to install. A 14-inch screen was embedded in the wall and displayed images of phase and Earth until a universal frequency was reached. I was also the pioneer of that worldwide, but I didn't realize how far it would reach in a couple of years. Kim stepped back and patted me on the shoulder as Mars's face appeared on screen. I turned to her, filled with nervous tension. She stepped further back and pressed her hands together and bowed slightly to Mars. You don't have to bow to me, Mars said. I am as equal as you all. You know that, Kim. I prefer to bow anyway, Kim said. Hi there, husband. I felt the tension between them, so the exasperation was not from me, but Mars. Hi there, wife. Mars turned his attention to me. I see you have become a disgruntled employee on our staff. This is a time to blow off some steam. You are open to speak your mind. I felt nervous tension within. I straightened my back, took a deep breath, and paused with my words and emotions. I blinked at my father's face over 300 light years away and noticed his skin looked much darker than usual. It must be the heavy phase atmosphere, thought. What is going on here? I asked quickly. A legitimate question, Morris nodded his head slightly. You are the master of Earth archives when it comes to Ruffman activities. Your duties are to record all that you see and hear, document and put things in their proper files. If I was hired to do a job, why was I not notified? I asked with welling emotion. You were indirectly, Morris said. While I was on Earth, you had the job and then expressed displeasure in the time factor. We replaced you with Chelsea, don't you remember? I don't remember being rehired for the job, I said angrily. You hired yourself, Lance, Morris said quietly. The constant studies in Ruffman history, the notes you take, the book you want to write. I would say you have much experience and interest in the matter. I leaned against a flat table and sighed deeply. You have within you the seeds of many races, Lance, Morris said. You're capable of moving in and out information without the bias many others would have of a singular race. If you think it is too much for you, maybe you should back out. I don't like the pressures of time. Why do I feel there is a time factor involved? I asked. Time is connected to everything, Lance. That's a frame of mind and environment. Kim, have you been telling Lance there's a time this must be finished? Morris asked quickly. No, neither have the other red mothers, Kim said just as quickly. See? Take your time, Lance. What you are probably feeling is the power of this moment. There will never be another time for this world ever again. 5 species on one planet. Anything can happen, Mars continued. You have the responsibility of the recorder of those experiences. What will you do with all that power? Not do it through fear and anxiety? Or make a difference and record and leave it up to posterity to figure it out? Sounds simple, but it's not. I sighed deeply and bowed my head in deep thought. As Kim walked close behind me and placed her thin hand on my shoulder, then stared at the dark, kind face of my father. What is the compensation for my time and travel? I asked. Other than helping posterity see history without bias? 2,000 credits to your account per month, room and board for free at the Great Tower. Anything else we can do for you? Morris asked. That would do nicely, I said. Kim, will see to your accommodations. Until then, I will leave you both. May the light be with you, Morris said. May the light be with you, Kim and I said in unison. I lived further in the city of Han and made 4,000 credits a month, which was equivalent to $1 equals credit exchange almost 100 years ago. There were deep deadlines as a writer for Ruffman International, RMI, but I stayed far from them. My articles contributed to new information on the rough men. Millions waited each month for an update and made Ruffman International a leading world magazine. Yuna's apartment was near the shores of Han. I stepped from the tide and locked down air car into her comfortable green and blue apartment. She was a thin woman of auburn hair, recently bleached from a blonde color. It caused her pink skin to appear flushed. When I saw the baby, I knew he was something special. He had black hair, pudgy face, and brown skin. He was only a year old and crawled towards a wall. I could see the features of Mars more than June. It was hard to tell how this child and the other children could become like demigods as they grew older. Has he displayed any powers that are extraordinary? I asked as I set up my equipment. None that I could see, June smiled weakly. I believe that will change as he gets older. I suppose, I said, as I turned the camera on the child. What's his name again? Atli. Scandinavian. Old Norse name, means king of the Huns, June said with pride. I forgot to ask him what the names to her kids were, I said flatly. They are your half-brothers. You should know their names, June said. I never thought of it like that, I said as I recorded Atli's name in a small memory recorder. What are their names? Arvid means of the people. Arn means eagle. You really don't know what's going on here, June said quietly. Let me guess. It was my father's idea, I said. Yes, to ensure your intentions were right. You must want to do this on your own without external pressures, June said. I feel driven, but I don't know why, I said carefully. That's pure motivation. Mars knows what he's doing. In time, you will see why you write and record the Ruffman reports, June said. My air car rolled to Chelsea B's area in Racine, went smoothly. The sky was blue and the sun was out, but I was filled with anxiety of what was to come. I felt like I had been set up for something I did not see. It made me feel powerless. That was chapter 1 of The Battles of Lance the Writer. I hope you enjoyed that. You can get the book on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Apple Books is in there, and a few others that's connected to Drafted Digital when it comes to ebooks. Also, there is Google Play Books that has the ebooks also if you want it there. I keep the ebooks low, like 99 cents or so. I'll check throughout the system, but I keep them all low, 99 cents, unless you want a print version. Then that might be up a few more dollars. On the audio, what's called auto narrated side, the books are on Google Play Books on the auto narrated side. And I went in there to the book to make sure that it comes out close to the character as possible. Just because you're listening to AI say it, it doesn't mean it does not have the spirit of the book. So I believe some people are just they jumping the gun on that, and they should give the auto narrator a chance and see how it comes out. Let's see, you'll find that it comes close to possible because I went in there and make some dots to dashes, so to say. So this is Michael Lighten. I hope you enjoy this works. This next work I have coming out is called The Forgotten Case of Rain. I've changed the title about 5 times, so I believe that's the strongest title for this book. And I have one called Communications and Love, and that's supposed to be a practical book about life on Earth. So this is Michael Lighten, and I see you. We wouldn't be able to see you, but I guess we can connect in the next audio.